Picture this, the year is 1607. A group of weary travelers, having crossed a vast ocean, sets foot on a land teeming with promise and peril. These are the first English settlers at Jamestown, Virginia, marking the beginning of a daring experiment that would shape the destiny of a continent. Driven by a thirst for new beginnings, these early colonists faced unimaginable hardships. Yet, amidst the struggles, they planted the seeds of a new society, one that would eventually rise to become a beacon of liberty and opportunity. As the colonies grew, so too did their desire for self-governance. The colonists chafed under the increasingly restrictive policies imposed by the British Crown. Taxes levied without representation and limitations on trade fueled resentment. What began as murmurs of discontent soon grew into a chorus of protest. The stage was set for a momentous clash, one that would forever alter the course of history. The year is 1775. Tensions between Great Britain and its American colonies have reached a boiling point. In the pre-dawn hours of April 19th, British troops march from Boston towards Concord, Massachusetts. As the sun rises over Lexington Green, a group of citizen soldiers stand face to face with the might of the British Army. A single shot rings out, its origin lost to history, but its impact deafening. The American Revolution has begun. From the fields of Lexington to the streets of Boston, the fight for independence ignites. Outnumbered and outgunned, the colonists, driven by an unwavering belief in their cause, take on the world's most powerful empire. Early battles, though often ending in defeat for the colonists, reveal their tenacity and courage. The Continental Army endures a grueling winter at Valley Forge, their spirit unbroken despite the hardships. Victories at Trenton and Princeton rekindle the flames of revolution. The American Revolution is not just a war for independence, it is a test of ideals, a crucible that will forge a new nation. 1783. The American Revolution concludes with the signing of the Treaty of Paris. The fledgling nation secures its hard-fought independence from Great Britain. The first attempt at governing this new nation comes in the form of the Articles of Confederation. But the Articles prove inadequate in addressing the challenges facing the young nation. Out of the Constitutional Convention emerges a document that would come to define a nation, the United States Constitution. With the ratification of the Constitution, the United States embarks on a bold new experiment in democracy. This remarkable document establishes the framework for a government that balances power among three branches. The Constitution also enshrines fundamental rights and liberties. The Bill of Rights guarantees freedoms such as speech, assembly, and religion. This flexibility, combined with its foundational principles, allows the Constitution to endure as a symbol of democracy. By the mid-19th century, the issue of slavery casts a long shadow over the United States. The North, with its burgeoning industries and growing abolitionist movement, stands in stark contrast to the South. As the nation expands westward, the question of whether slavery should be allowed in these new territories ignites fierce debate. In 1860, the election of Abraham Lincoln proves to be a turning point. Southern states, fearing the loss of their autonomy, secede from the Union. On April 12, 1861, the Confederate Army fires upon Fort Sumter, signaling the start of the Civil War. The Civil War becomes a crucible of fire, testing the nation's resolve and the very meaning of freedom. From the blood-soaked fields of Gettysburg to the strategic siege of Vicksburg, the war rages for 4 long years. The human cost is staggering, with hundreds of thousands of soldiers perishing on both sides. Slaves, seizing the opportunity presented by the chaos of war, escape to freedom. In 1863, President Lincoln delivers his immortal Gettysburg Address, speaking of unity and healing. He reminds the nation that it was founded on the principle of equality for all. As the 20th century dawned, a storm was brewing in Europe. In 1914, the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand ignited World War I. The United States, initially hesitant, clung to a policy of neutrality. However, the sinking of the Lusitania and the Zimmermann telegram shifted public opinion. In April 1917, President Woodrow Wilson asked Congress for a declaration of war against Germany. The United States joined the Allied powers in a global struggle to defeat tyranny and preserve freedom. The United States, now a global power, faces new challenges as the world edges closer to another devastating conflict. In 1939, World War II erupts. The attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, marks a turning point. President Franklin D. Roosevelt declares that the United States will become the arsenal of democracy. American industry shifts into high gear, producing vast quantities of war material. The resolve and unity of the American people become a powerful force, driving the nation towards ultimate triumph. Victory and its aftermath brought both relief and new challenges. The world had to rebuild from the ruins of war, and the balance of power shifted dramatically. The United States and the Soviet Union emerged as the two dominant superpowers. The seeds of a new conflict were sown, even as the celebrations of victory were still echoing. The ashes of World War II were still smoldering when a new conflict emerged, not a clash of armies on a battlefield, but a war of ideologies, a global chess match between two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union. The Cold War, as it came to be known, was a struggle for the hearts and minds of the world, a clash between the principles of democracy and capitalism on one side, and communism on the other. The United States, having emerged from the war as a global superpower, found itself thrust into the role of leader of the free world. The Iron Curtain, as Winston Churchill famously described it, descended across Europe, dividing East from West. The Soviet Union, seeking to expand its sphere of influence, installed communist regimes in Eastern Europe, creating a buffer zone between itself and the West. The United States, committed to containing the spread of communism, embarked on a policy of containment, providing economic and military aid to countries deemed vulnerable to Soviet influence. The stage was set for a decades-long struggle that would shape the course of the 20th century. From the streets of Berlin, where a wall divided families and symbolized the ideological divide, to the jungles of Vietnam, where American soldiers fought a controversial war against communist forces, the Cold War cast a long shadow. The threat of nuclear annihilation hung over the world, a stark reminder of the stakes involved. Both sides engaged in a perilous arms race, developing increasingly powerful weapons of mass destruction. The world held its breath, hoping that cooler heads would prevail. The Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962 brought the world to the brink of nuclear war. The Soviet Union, seeking to counter the presence of American missiles in Turkey, attempted to install nuclear missiles on the island of Cuba, just 90 miles from the coast of Florida. For 13 tense days, the world watched as President John F. Kennedy and Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev engaged in a high-stakes game of brinksmanship. The crisis was averted, but the world had glimpsed the abyss. The Cold War, once a simmering conflict, began to heat up. Proxy wars erupted in various parts of the world as the United States and the Soviet Union vied for influence. The Korean War, the Vietnam War, and numerous other conflicts became battlegrounds for the superpowers. The struggle extended into space, with the space race symbolizing the technological and ideological competition. The Cuban Missile Crisis may have been averted, but the tension remained, and the world continued to live under the shadow of potential nuclear conflict. Section 3. The Dawn of a New Millennium. Section 1. The Weight of Legacy. The United States, a nation forged in revolution, shaped by conflict and tested by time, stands as a testament to the enduring power of human spirit and the enduring allure of freedom. From its humble beginnings as a collection of colonies clinging to the Atlantic coast, it has risen to become a global superpower, its influence felt in every corner of the globe. Its story is a complex tapestry woven from the threads of countless individual journeys, triumphs and tragedies, innovations and setbacks. The legacy of the United States is one of immense achievement but also one of profound contradictions. It is a nation founded on the ideals of liberty and equality, yet it has struggled and continues to struggle to fully realize these ideals for all its citizens. The scars of slavery and segregation, the displacement of Native American tribes, the ongoing fight for civil rights. These are reminders that the journey towards a more perfect union is far from over. Yet, despite its flaws, the United States remains a beacon of hope for many, a land of opportunity where dreams can be pursued and where the pursuit of knowledge and innovation knows no bounds. Its universities attract the brightest minds from around the world. Its entrepreneurs and innovators continue to push the boundaries of what's possible, and its artists and storytellers continue to inspire and challenge us. The American spirit, that indomitable belief in the power of hard work, ingenuity, and self-reliance, continues to drive progress and shape the nation's destiny. From the landing on the moon to the mapping of the human genome, from the invention of the internet to the development of life-saving medical treatments, the United States has played a pivotal role in shaping the modern world. Its contributions to science, technology, medicine, and the arts have left an indelible mark on human civilization. But as the 21st century unfolds, the United States faces new challenges, both at home and abroad, that will test its resilience and its commitment to its founding principles. Section 2. Challenges of a New Era. In a world grappling with climate change, economic inequality, political polarization, and the rise of new global powers, the United States finds itself at a crossroads. The decisions made today will determine not only its own future, but also the future of the planet and its people. Can a nation born from revolution adapt to a rapidly changing world? Can it bridge its internal divisions and forge a more equitable society for all its citizens? The challenges are daunting, but the American spirit, that same spirit that fueled the revolution, that overcame a civil war, that triumphed over tyranny in the 20th century, is still alive. It can be seen in the tireless work of activists fighting for social justice, in the ingenuity of entrepreneurs creating new industries and opportunities, in the dedication of teachers inspiring future generations, and in the courage of ordinary citizens who stand up for what they believe in. The story of the United States is a story of progress and setbacks, of triumphs and failures, of unity and division. It is a story that continues to unfold, a story that is being written every day by ordinary people making extraordinary choices. The future of the United States, like its past, is not preordained. It is a future that will be shaped by the actions and inactions of its citizens, by their willingness to engage in the hard work of democracy, and by their commitment to the ideals of liberty, equality, and justice for all. The United States has always been a nation of dreamers and doers, of pioneers and innovators, of people who dared to challenge the status quo and strive for a better tomorrow. As we look to the future, it is that same spirit of innovation, that same belief in the power of possibility, that will guide us. The journey ahead may be uncertain, but the destination is clear: a more perfect union, a beacon of hope for the world, a nation where all its citizens have the opportunity to reach their full potential and contribute to the ongoing story of the United States. Section 3. A Story Unfinished. The history of the United States is not just a collection of dates and events, of battles won and lost, of presidents and policies. It is a story woven from the lives of millions of individuals, each with their own dreams, struggles, and contributions to make. It is a story that continues to unfold, a story that we are all a part of. I encourage you to delve deeper into the rich tapestry of American history, to explore the stories of those who came before us, to understand the challenges they faced and the triumphs they achieved. Learn from their mistakes, celebrate their successes, and let their stories inspire you to create a brighter future for ourselves and for generations to come. Visit the battlefields that shaped a nation, walk in the footsteps of civil rights leaders, explore the museums and monuments that preserve our collective memory. Read the words of our founding fathers, listen to the voices of those who fought for equality, and engage in thoughtful dialogue about the issues that continue to shape our nation. The story of the United States is a story that belongs to all of us. It is a story that is still being written. What role will you play in shaping its next chapter?